at 5:10 on October 22nd, 2025. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Thanks everyone for coming. This is our first in a series of budget meetings. It's meant to be informal. It's meant to be inquisitive. So tonight we have up the library, recreation, town clerk, parks and cemetery, public works, building, human resources, and the controller's office. And with that, we will have the first person up. Library.
We have to do roll call first.
I'm sorry, roll call. Thank you.
Supervisor Evans.
Here.
Councilwoman Cunningham.
Here.
Councilman Malone.
Present.
Councilman Perticone.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Weiner. Attorney for the town.
Okay, library. Things on the back.
Hi, everyone. Oh, there we go. Hi, everybody. Before Greg begins, I just wanted to take a moment. My name is Rachel Snyder. I am the board president for the library board. I wanted to thank Greg, Stephanie Shubmel, the finance committee, town board members, stakeholders for helping us craft throughout this process. We as the library board have endeavored to meet this moment and be thoughtful about costs, which we all know is no easy feat, and to go make sure that we met different iterations and also tried to continue our standard of growth and innovation with the programs that we've come to expect from the library and our wonderful staff. So again, I just wanted to give Greg and the whole team kudos for all of their work. Greg?
Good evening, folks. You have a couple of documents up there. You have this document, which I call the budget narrative. This has a description of each of the budget lines, the types of things we typically spend out of the budget lines, and wherever we know all of the anticipated costs for the forthcoming year, those costs are all enumerated in this document. And then this document is a spreadsheet that just keeps track of our spending. It is informed by the document that Diana Marsh prepares. I just find that the font is a little bit bigger on this, and I have a slightly easier time following across the page. But these are meant to be consumed as a pair. If you have questions in the future, please feel free to email me. And after I kind of walk you through the budget tonight, I'm happy to answer any questions or provide any commentary. Before I get into the nuts and bolts of this proposal, I want to state up front that I realize that the town has many worthwhile proposals to consider and that the library is just but one of those. We have taken extraordinary effort, the finance committee, the library board, Stephanie and I, along with the staff members who manage budget lines over at the library. We've taken extraordinary efforts to hold flat and reduce expenses wherever possible as part of the town's broader initiative to limit the year-over-year increase in the budget. The costs and figures that the library is responsible for identifying in the budget are based on the best statistics and projections that we have available to us at the time that they're made. In past years, we've selected a fun theme to represent the library's budget request. Last year, it was IPL, or Improving People's Lives. This year, it's ABC, or Access Benefits Community. The raw dollar amounts for our 2026 budget request, we are requesting $2,937,000 and change from the tax levy for the 2026 library budget. This figure represents a decrease of about $140,000 from our initial request earlier in the budget process. The 2026 library budget seeks an additional $144,000 over the 2025 figure. Of that $144,000, 94.6% of the increase, or $136,000, is due to increases to budget lines beyond anyone's control. Those increases are related to contractual obligations, our collective bargaining agreement, health care and other employee benefits, maintenance expenses that are rigid and fixed, utilities and insurance premiums. 5.4% of the increase, or $7,700, are related to the library's objectives for the budget. I also want to recognize Diana Marsh and Jason Vanette, Kevin Labar, all of who've helped with some aspect of this budget. Through the collaboration with our other town department heads, we've identified just over $9,000 in savings to budget lines related to office and computer supplies, telephone utilities, and interest on bonds. The budget objective for 2026, this year we have one budget objective, and that is to eliminate hold fees for materials that are sent in to the Arundecoit Library from elsewhere in the Monroe County Library System. Presently, if you request a book and we don't have a copy of the book, or all of our copies are checked out, we can have a copy sent in from elsewhere for 50 cents. Of the 31 libraries in Monroe County, Arundecoit Public Library is one of 3 that still charges a fee to have a book shipped in from another library. Our library users regularly contact the library board and me with requests that we eliminate this fee. Sometimes they express that they choose to use the Winton Branch Library or the Webster Public Library because those libraries are our closest competitors and do not charge for a hold fee. This change is necessary at this stage in the game, being the last of the 3 that are charging holds fees, to keep us competitive with other libraries in the area and to respond to our users. This is, of course, going to have an impact on our revenue. By eliminating hold fees, we will see an $8,300 and change decrease in revenue when compared to maintaining the hold fee. Despite this drop in revenue, the Arundecoit Public Library will continue to outperform the majority of suburban public libraries in Monroe County. Since 2020, the Arundecoit Public Library's revenue has been the first or the second highest in the county. Last year, our library generated 2.3 times the average revenue for the libraries that I've benchmarked us against, and 3 times the amount of the next highest performing library, which was the Fairport Public Library. On the second page of the narrative budget, I have a table that you can reference. This table compares the Arundecoit Public Library to a selection of suburban libraries in this county that represent all of the large libraries, so Greece, Webster, Fairport, and Brighton, and most of the medium libraries, Gates, Henrietta, Pittsford, and Penfield. These figures in the table represent revenue from fines, fees, printing and faxing charges, and the sale of decommissioned items like books, furniture, and equipment. Some of the libraries in this chart include revenue from other sources that we don't have at Arundecoit. Those are investments and endowments. The Arundecoit Library does not receive revenue from either of those sources in our revenue budget line. Consequently, those financial figures have been excluded to better enable a one-to-one comparison between our library and the other libraries. So even with the $8,000 and change drop in revenue, we'll still be breaking $100,000, which is stronger than all but Greece. And there have been a couple years where we've bested Greece even. Revenue, I can tell, is an important issue in the town, and I'm pursuing additional non-traditional revenue sources with an eye to future budget years. I've been in contact with my counterpart at the Pittsford Community Library with questions about their relationship with Starbucks that operates a Starbucks franchise out of the library's facility. I'm gathering preliminary information about whether a similar arrangement with an external business is feasible in Arundecoit, and if so, what sorts of grants might be available to offset local costs. The effort is in its initial exploratory phase, it is possible that this source of supplementary income may not be viable for Arundecoit, but I want to pursue it to its fullest because I think it's the single best shot that we have at a large source of new revenue. Also, Diana Marsh and Kevin and I have been working to identify potential cost savings related to the library's credit card transaction processing fees. We've already started to investigate potential ways to reduce these costs, but time did not permit us to implement a solution before this meeting. But it is something that we're going to be working towards as we look towards the 2026 budget year. If you have questions or thoughts, I'd love to be able to answer them for you.
Great job, by the way. I do want to put out for the people at home that you guys have been in the forefront of actually saving the town money. We implemented the change in wages last year, which had the effect of reducing your turnover greatly. So that represented a huge savings because the first part of costs for any employment is training and upkeep. So we were training staff members to go elsewhere. So I'm glad that has stopped. With that, any other questions?
No, just actually a couple of comments. It has been an absolute pleasure acting as the liaison from the town board to the library. And for my colleagues, this is not the first time that I've seen this. We've been talking about the budget at the budget meetings for several months now. So I am amazed with the preparation that has gone into this. Just a question. First of all, I love the data that you're sharing. I've heard a naysayer in the community say that the Arundecoit Library is not used, and it's going downhill, and you are showing with figures that that is not true. So I want to go on record as saying I appreciate all of the work that your staff does. Endowments. Can you, other libraries do have endowments and Arundecoit doesn't?
Some libraries do have endowments. Most libraries in the county have a relationship with a foundation, which is a separate 501c3 that raises funds on behalf of their library.
Okay.
The foundation is a nonprofit organization that retains those funds for large projects like capital improvement projects. And our foundation is currently doing a fund drive right now for an anticipated renovation in the children's library. That is separate from an endowment that is owned by the library board. Usually those are gifted to the library board. We have no such arrangement here at Arundecoit, and that is atypical, at least in this county. For public libraries. Usually it's a benefactor in the community who leaves some sort of investment to the library board.
Okay. Is that something that we'd be pursuing?
I would say since the foundation is well equipped to manage large sums of funds like that, it makes sense to have the foundation potentially receive a donation like that. But I'm open to any ideas that might help expand the amount of money that the library would have and reduce the burden to the local taxpayer.
And can you speak to the Library One position that you wanted to increase?
Yeah, so we were hopeful that we could get some funds in terms of wages and benefits to promote a library assistant who is presently full-time. We have a very strong internal candidate who's been a driving force behind the success of our 1839 Makers Lab. The wages for that position would be an increase of $5,500 and then a proportional increase to the budget lines that are calculated based on the employee's take-home salary. If there is additional money available to the town board later in this process, I know you'll have many worthwhile considerations, but if you think that might be beneficial to reward this employee's innovation and commitment to the community, it certainly would go a long way to help us retain our employees, and it would also help boost the output of the Makers Lab beyond what we're presently able to do.
Okay, thank you.
Greg, one question I have, this 50 cent charge, right? So if I have a book sent to this library, you have to charge me 50 cents.
That's
Correct?
how the
That's what you
arrangement
want to
is.
eliminate, though.
Yeah.
Is it a big generator of money? Is it-
This particular budget year, it's in the vicinity of $8,000. You know, not nothing, but it's also, you know, not breaking the five-figure mark. I look at it mostly as a customer service issue at this point because we have people living in the Hellendale neighborhood who tell me, well, we just shoot down Winton Road to the Winton branch because they're not charging when we pick up a book. Now, we don't charge if somebody wants, they call and we got a book on the shelf, we'll set it aside for them. We
Yeah.
don't charge for that. This is when it has to go through a shipment process that gets the book from, you know, the Chi-Li Library downtown and then sent out to us.
Well, for $8,000, I mean, it happens a lot, right?
Yeah, I mean,
It happens
roughly
quite a bit.
4,000 times.
Yeah, right.
Times a year.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Our biggest driver of revenue, though, by far, is the bookstore, and that's something I'm tremendously proud of. I want to give credit to Nora Pellish. She's one of our assistant directors. She supervises all of our volunteers, including the volunteers who work in the bookstore. And for the last 3 years, we've really been encouraging the volunteers, helping them come up with new ways to display the books, promote the books through social media and our email newsletter. And we've seen revenue increase in the bookstore. Last year was the best year on record for revenue from the bookstore. We might have a shot at beating it again this year. But that success is due to Nora and the volunteers because one would think that the very first year we were open was the highest foot traffic. You would think that would be the best sales for the bookstore. But these last couple years have been really phenomenal because of the extra effort that those volunteers and Nora have put in. It generates roughly $45,000 annually.
The bookstore.
Any other questions or comments?
That's the only comment I might have is looking down through your chart on the first page. I guess the 50 cents that John commented about, would that be the reason for the decrease in the library income, I guess?
Yes, that's the primary driver. We're also projecting out based on printing. You know, printing ebbs and flows. Some years it's up, some years it's down. Where we're trending right now, next year we're thinking we might make a little bit less. We always try to inform next year's figures based on this year's performance, but that's the primary driver of the decrease in that budget line.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great job, by the way, and I still love to duplicate this process for all the directors. So excellent job.
Thank you all.
Okay, next up we have recreation. Good evening, and the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Is this still on? No.
It's on, but it's very low. That's off now. That's on.
Okay. Okay, still good? Can you hear me? Okay. Good thing I'm loud. Okay, so thank you for this opportunity this evening. I think most folks know that the Recreation Department actually has 5.
Madam Chief, can you check to make sure that it's being carried over the airwaves with the downstairs? Thank you very much. It's still on, but I'm not sure if it's being picked up by the people at home.
Gotcha.
So I want to make sure it's there. Please continue.
Okay. For the Recreation Department, we actually consider 5 different budgets. The recreation budget, our aging budget, and our nutrition budget, and then also our special events budget and our farmers market budget. Now, the special events and farmers market budgets are not funded by taxpayer dollars. Those are all funded through sponsorships, donations, and volunteerism. So that is a separate budget situation that we deal with through our special events department. So this evening, we are really focusing on the other 3, which is our recreation budget, our aging budget, and our nutrition budget. So The leadership team and myself worked with Diana Marsh and Jason Vanette to put together this budget summary for you guys. So if you want to start with the recreation budget, I can just give some highlights of it, and then if we have any questions, feel free to shoot them my way. So for the 2026 revenue projected for our recreation budget, we are looking to increase our revenue to the tune of about $80,500 from 2025. I also should mention that part of this process this year, we have worked with the Comptroller's office to merge some of our budget lines and eliminate some, as we found that our budgets really just had a lot of unnecessary lines where we thought we would simplify the process a little bit by merging some of those. So it'll look a little bit different for 2026. And our goal to increase our revenue recreation to the tune of $80,500 will include a slight increase in rental fees at the community center at Camp Eastman. We do have more space available at Camp Eastman for rentals there, as well as McAvoy Park, which has really grown in popularity with our rentals, especially this year. Also, we will be leaning heavily into our program team to create some more creative and unique program offerings, and we're really looking at ways to ramp up our marketing, including our social media outlets, as well as our recreation guide that comes out 3 times each year with each program cycle. So those are ways that we are planning to bring in some more money in 2026. Our biggest money makers are generally our senior softball program and our summer camps. We do host a series of 7-week summer camp programs at 9 different locations. This year we are also looking to expand that offering and offer several weeks of travel camp programs where we will be going primarily on field trips with some of our older kids. So those are some of the ways we're looking to increase those lines as well. And our expenses, we are looking to cut our expenses to the tune of $64,573. We're really looking to cut some contractual expenses, and we really went line by line and looked at what we're actually using and how we could trim the fat really in each different area. And with Diana's help, we were able to make a feasible scenario for 2026 that would save us quite a bit of money, so. Sure. No, of course.
Could you explain that a little bit more as far as what you mean by contractual?
Yes, sure. Some of the services that we, contract through, whether it's bringing folks in to provide some different programming, or utilizing different sort of equipment that we would need to rent out from other folks. We're finding creative ways to get around those services. Any other questions? No? Okay. If you'd like to look at the aging budget. So the aging budget, it's going to show a decrease actually of 44,000 from 2025, but that's a little bit misleading because that's when I talked about earlier how we had condensed some of our lines and merged some of our lines. Previously, our senior softball program, which is a huge revenue generator for us, was going into that line, but we moved it over to one of the lines in the recreation budget. So that's fairly misleading and would essentially stay the same minus that change. And then we were able to decrease our expenses slightly by about $760 just through slight decreases in supply lines and contractual services, phones, vehicle maintenance, that sort of thing. So.
Before you continue, I do want to say that what has also been condensed is Director Vignette has gone by in consolidated partial lines. So you see the number of employees changing also. so I forgot to cover that. So he did a different formula for doing the, where an employee was charged to multiple departments. He condensed that also. I forgot to put that out in the beginning. Go ahead.
Yes, we had two full-time employees whose salaries were split between two budgets, and we merged those together under one. So. And then finally, our nutrition budget, that's our Lunch Club 60 program. We're actually looking at a decrease in revenue for that program as well this year, moving into 2026. That's for a couple different reasons. We did get a decrease in our federal funding by about $11,000. Also, we are finding that that program, we do not charge, but we do request a suggested contribution of $3.50 for each participant for their lunch service, but that is just a suggestion, and we are finding more and more that our participants are waiving that fee and choosing to take the meals, free of charge, which is fine. That's what it's there for, but that's obviously going to impact our revenue line a bit. Do you have a question, Ann? Oh, okay. Okay. That sounds louder. And then our expenses, again, just going to decrease a couple of dollars. It's really going to remain the same. So really the major change in the nutrition budget is the federal funding being decreased, and then just the projection, because we are finding that a lot of our participants are choosing to waive the lunch contribution.
I think there's an first of all, thank you to you and your staff. I have been to numerous events this last year, and I'm blown away by your staff, how hardworking they are, and the number of events and programs that you do. I look at your ideas as someone who also works in the aging field, so I appreciate that. I think that there's an opportunity for some advocacy work here with the decrease in the federal funding for the nutrition program.
Great.
So I think we need to jump on that. Do you see a decrease in the number of people that come for lunch?
No, we, in fact, quite the opposite. I do have a couple of figures that I could share with you on that. So meals served weekly is approximately 140, which is 27 plus per day. Generally speaking, Monday, Wednesday, Friday seem to be busier days. I'm not sure why. Actually, they say it's because we used to not offer bingo on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but we rectified that issue, and we now offer bingo 5 days a week. So they're starting to fill up a little bit. But no, we aren't finding a decrease in participation. Simply, folks that would choose to waive the fee, maybe, could keep those extra couple dollars for some other expense. So.
And I think we're going to see it increase. I think we're going to continually see that increase. So that decrease in the federal funding is very concerning. So again, I think this would be worth chatting with at least Congressmember Morelli and jump on that. You have a new registration software. How is that impacting your programming?
Yeah, we did adopt a new software program, RecDesk, this past May. I guess it impacts it in that, it's hard to have to start all over again for
Sure.
both the staff and our constituents, because it's a process to get folks re-enrolled and get, new profiles and get everyone squared away. And with any new program, there's going to be bumps in the road. So it's just a longer process to get everything up and running and moving in the right direction. But I think we've finally kind of hit our stride, and we are finding that for the most part, folks who come in regularly have been in at this point and are now up to date. But I would say that it's been something that's been frustrating up until now, but now we'll start to reap the benefits of
Yeah,
the new program.
that's what I was wondering, and I have heard, anecdotally from residents that it's a much easier system, so.
Good, yeah, that was the goal, so.
Yeah. And one last thing from me. Mr. Evans, you have talked about increasing salaries across departments. You talked about that in the library. Can you tell me how you have made changes to salaries in the rec department? Because I know that the rec department is very concerned about attracting and retaining staff.
Yeah, so with everything, I start from the bottom up. I think that it is our obligation to take care of the least people for the greatest. If I don't think that I think we talked about the upper level. I want to make sure that the bottom is fully taken care of first. The lowest paid workers are receiving a living wage. From that, I would talk to Mr. Vignette to find out what opportunities there are. But right now, we're really stressed on our salary. In fact, in order to provide security for the courts, I reduced the supervisor's staff because the security in the courts was just not there. So Ms. Marsh and I have looked at this, looked at the salaries, and I think we're at the end of where we're at. So next year was the projected time to look at the upper salary and then how we will balance that, which is why we looked at the band to kind of shift money around and extend what we can do so that we can now take care of the middle and upper side. Am I correct on that, Mrs. Marsh? Yeah, we just have no more money left this year.
I understand that. I'm asking specifically for the recreation department.
Well, can
Yeah,
I also,
I look at all departments the same. I don't really look at one department. Everyone is looked at across the board equally. So it's moving. So it's not just looking at police. It's not just looking at rec. It's not just looking at DPW. It's everyone across the board at a certain level and moving those levels up at one time.
recreation's concern is not about the senior level, it's about the part-time staff. We haven't received any increases for our part-time staff at all, so
Okay,
all of my part-time staff start between $16 and $17 an hour, including all of our front desk attendants, our fitness center attendants, our rec assistants, and all of our summer camp staff, so.
Yeah, Ms. Marsh, we moved that up to $18 an hour last year. Then we are.
So the part-time staff should have been increased last year. This year, for all the non-rep employees, including your part-time and seasonal, we did include a 3% increase for all of those employees in the 2026 budget. So they should see an increase next year.
Our
Not sure.
part-time staff do not make $18 an hour, none of them.
I will look into
Certain
that,
of them.
Shannon.
Yeah, because we corrected that last year. That was part of the budget, to move every part-time staff starting at 18 and the base salary for all workers at 20.
So was
Didn't
your
make its
3%
way.
increase on the $18 you're figuring? Right? This, well,
There should have been, but Shannon
Okay,
brought to
right.
18 last year. And I don't put the salaries together, so I apologize.
Yeah,
I
sure,
don't have
I
the
know.
information right in front of me.
okay.
So we'll look at that and make that correction. That was the goal last year, is everyone, all part-timers at 18. The base salary for any position in the town is at 20.
Well, we gotta see what that increase is then. How many part-time we talking? Ballpark? Well, you got the.
Year-round,
Yeah.
we're looking at about 27-ish.
And then you're talking.
And then
the
seasonal,
counselors?
another 65 to 70.
All right, so you're talking quite a few that
Yeah.
aren't making $18 an hour.
Correct.
Should have been. Okay, okay. Well, it's gonna, if we increase them all, some of them need $2 an hour plus
Right.
the increase. So that's gonna add onto it. I have one question, Shannon, the, transportation,
Yes.
or our Tuesday, Thursdays,
Yes, we are still
Transport
offering transportation Tuesday,
lunch.
Thursdays for lunch.
Okay.
Yes, we are. And we are in the middle of getting recertification for our bus for the 19A
Okay.
certification.
What,
for the DOT.
how, is it, well, you know, is it busy, the transportation?
Yeah, well, we have the same group, generally speaking,
Okay,
that take advantage of it. Once we have the bus back to where we need to be, we'll do some more marketing and we'll be able to offer more, so.
Okay, so you think if you get the bus going, it'll be 5 days?
Potentially, yes.
Okay, eventually. Okay, but right now it's Tuesday, Thursday.
Yep.
And it's probably the same people. What are we
Yeah.
transporting them in right now, the
Oh,
car?
we have a minivan that
Okay.
the rec department has as well.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Just a couple quick things if I could. Number one, just to roll back on the lunch contribution. The comments are you getting, and the reason why it's dropped off, I'm just curious, are you hearing from some of the residents why they've decided not to contribute to the program, I guess is my question?
Not really, we really don't ask.
Right,
you
I
know,
wonder what you're hearing, is it because they just can't afford it anymore? I'm just curious.
That's my
Yeah,
understanding or feeling.
right, that's what I'm
yeah.
kinda thinking.
Yeah.
The other thing is too, as far as the part-time help, what's the average hours that a part-time person's working at the rec center? Is there an average does it vary between departments, I guess, is my question, or not?
Yeah, it varies a little bit between each different area, but I would say, generally speaking, between 10 to 15 hours.
Oh,
for a
okay.
part-timer, so.
Okay, thank you, yep.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Town Clerk.
So in the clerk's office, there's 3 different areas. We have the town clerk, we have the tax department, and then we also have record management. Our budgets are pretty straightforward. There's no major changes. We have seen this year in the town clerk budget an increase in passports and passport fees. If you notice in the lines that, we've already are up from what we did last year. There's also been an uptick in hunting and fishing licenses. So those are just slight increases that we did in our revenue for the budget. Expenses for all 3 departments or areas are pretty much straightforward. No major expenses are expected other than ordinary, regular common inflation increases.
Has the addition of wedding coordinator or wedding increase your revenues?
Well, we did increase the revenue, because now we charge an extra $10 for the licenses. So yes, that has seen some, and that'll be reflective more of next year.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
Have you seen an increase in FOIL requests? The FOIL requests?
Yes, so we've seen a tremendous increase in FOIL requests. As of September 30th, I want to say, we've had over 500 FOIL requests in the town of Arundecoit. We've been told by I've been informed by other towns that that is extreme. They may see that amount in a few years, but not within the first 9 months of a year to have 500 or more.
I don't think it's not 500 different people, is it either? Right?
No, it's not 500 different people.
Okay,
And then the revenue part of that, we can increase it. It's based on state law, what we can charge for the FOIL request. But the amount of time that we spend
Yeah,
doing
sure.
these
That's what I was gonna
FOIL
ask.
requests
Yes.
take up a lot of the clerk's time. Between my time with appeals and things like that, and then my clerk's working on processing these.
so we don't charge for any time, though, correct?
The only time we can charge is if we think it's gonna take more than 2 hours of a clerk's time, and that is to be charged at the lowest clerk paid in that area.
So,
We can also charge for copying and the production side also.
so 500 foils, you can almost have a full-time person taking care of foils, basically. Because
Correct.
it takes more than, some of them take, that's an average, probably 2 hours or more. So, you know, you're talking 1,500 hours of work.
Correct,
That's almost a full-time job.
correct.
That's just putting it in perspective that how I'm looking at it.
And luckily, we were able to appoint a permanent position last night. So the two of my clerks plus myself, all three of us work on foils.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
I think this is an opportunity as well for us to pulse this information out. The number of time that this is taking. Just something to think about in the future.
Well, I think it
as
is.
far
I
as-
think we can eliminate, what, we have to do something. 500's an extreme lot of
Just
money.
since September.
It's a lot of work,
No, since
Total.
total
You know.
for the year.
yeah.
I was looking at a program that could possibly be used to help with the process. It would be more automated instead of papers printing out and things like that. This year, we decided not to go with it after talking to Diana and myself. But IT is also trying to work on, as well, on a program that would kind of automate it to where there's not so much paper being printed and delivered here, delivered there. Right now, it's, you submit it online, we have to print it out, copy it, take it to the department. So we're looking on some type of system,
Yeah,
hopefully in the.
but it
near
is,
near
it is allowable to have, to send digital information for, we don't have to print it out.
So when the resident submits the FOIL online, we have to print it out to get it to the next department. And then the department signs off on it and gives it back to us in paper form. Then we scan it and give it back to the resident.
Okay, Ms. Marsh, let's look at that process, and maybe we can come up with a better processing like we have for procurement.
So if an average one takes a couple hours, figure how much that costs in hours and stuff, right? I mean, it's quite a bit for just one. So if we're getting 500, we're spending tens of thousands of dollars on foils.
So while we're talking about it, could I ask, did we compare this 500 number, is this for 2025, correct?
Correct. That
So
is
do we
from
com-
January through September.
Okay, do we have a number, what it was in 2024, just to compare?
I do not.
Because I didn't see it in here. Okay, I just trying to think, think out loud here a little bit on what the big uptick was between 2024 and 2025.
I could give you a guess.
Well, John,
I can guess.
Let's keep this kind of civil, please.
It is civil.
We will look at the process, and we'll look at the costs for the process, and go from that. And if you can take the lead on that, Ms. Marsh, I appreciate that, because maybe it's worth it. We shouldn't be having to walk paper around in a digital environment. All right? Any other questions or comments? Thank you. Now we're up for Parks and Cemetery.
And I neglected to say I appreciate your staff and your leadership. So I'm sorry. I want to make sure that we are recognizing your department as well, because you are really one of the departments that's public facing. So
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Are we doing parks or cemetery first?
Parks, wherever you want to start is fine.
Start with parks. So the park budget, obviously, we maintain 12 public park.
Keep going.
Oh, okay, we maintain 12 pocket parks throughout town. I should say 12, including Camp Eastman as well as McAvoy. The, the parks budget is, holding with this budget. It's not anything, out of the ordinary. With this, we are we are also seeing an increase in the use of McAvoy, which is great. So we're very mindful about maintaining our brand new turf. So this in this budget, it gets us the certification and the third party maintenance going out there and testing it and maintaining the whatever those black beads are called. Other things within Camp Eastman and the parks in general is, maintaining the landscaping and the, the other materials within the parks.
So as far as the grounds, we got turf there, correct?
Yeah.
That saves a lot of time, right? Or, I mean, is there maintenance on that for you?
There is maintenance on
Okay.
it, so it's important that on the heavy wear areas of the field, obviously if you're playing baseball near the
Sure.
bases in the pitcher area, you want to make sure that you're going in and fluffing that back up.
Yeah.
For lack
Or
of a-
replacing that material,
You
correct?
replace it? Do you have replace?
Yes.
That's what I was
So,
gonna ask.
so
Okay.
this is with the second year of that turf, it's important that that's where we start getting into this annual testing and the maintenance of it. The contracted services and such is for the maintenance and the HVC backflow preventers throughout, the facilities. Questions? Move on to the cemetery.
Yeah.
The maintenance of the cemetery on Culver Road, obviously the staff there do a phenomenal job. So the majority of the lines we went through and trying to maintain status. The big thing that over the past few years we've been looking to overhaul the landscaping of the berms. So when you're at certain sections, there's these landscape berms kind of in between the ground stones, and they were starting to get a little overgrown and such. So we've gone through and we're seeing rotating around and getting onto those berms, and we've actually had some help with volunteers and such. Colorado Quite Green, I think, is one that have come in and helped out. So we did ask for a slight increase in actually purchasing plant material, because we have a captive audience right now that will come in and help us plant and pull weeds and maintain those.
And one of the things I wanted to talk about for cemetery, we're getting, how much capacity do we have? When will we run out of space?
Well, with the new columbarium, that is getting, we have some space in there. Obviously it's steady, that people are very interested in the new columbarium, but I would say that is our best capacity we have right now. As far as ground spots, we're extremely limited.
Right.
I would say, we're probably within a couple of years of turning people away at best. It might be sooner.
One of the things that, just thinking about, maybe we should start looking at transitioning to a memorial park, working with the Historian Society to make it more of a kind of like a Mount Hope park, but focusing on the Rhinelander history, because you have a lot of great history, a lot of great people there. That may be a different way to market the cemetery as we move, and also move it, as for federal funding is concerned, to kind of a memorial park versus an active cemetery, to plan that ahead, since it takes multiple years to get a grant for parks. Maybe we should start making that transition now. Just get your feedback, nothing needed tonight. We can think about that and make that transition.
did, with the resolution last night, with
Yeah.
approving the.
Right.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Which, thank you.
Yeah,
We can, I wanted to propose we can add the sale of that lawnmower back into the revenue side of budget, so,
Oh, okay.
you know, we're not positive, but
We don't know what that's gonna be, correct, Aaron, right now?
we can, you know, based on what we see and what we've sold, we estimated $3,000. It's not nothing.
something,
That's,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Well, your staff does a great job. It's,
I
the,
mean,
and the,
I appreciate Don, the head down there, cemetery specialist, I can't speak enough about.
yeah, it takes such
his
pride.
commitment. He does. His commitment and his pride and you know, he deals with people at varying different levels of grief and
worst part of life.
sorrow,
Sure, yeah.
planning,
100%.
and he
Yep.
does that very well, which
Yeah,
is hard to
yeah,
put a skill
yeah.
set.
I had a
like he
conversation
has.
with him about that.
Yeah.
And certainly all the parks have been, pocket parks I love. I used to take my kids to Bristol Tot Lot all the time, and, the upkeep I appreciate too, because our kids, they're heavily used, and a lot of grandparents take their kids, their grandchildren
and
there,
that's
it's
why
not just
we're
a,
trying to move to our mindset of changing, of trying to make these inclusive, and a lot of people think that is just ramps and such, but it's also
No.
being more cognizant about sensory and just access, what you're saying, it's the grandparents that are coming and want to bring their grandkids, and so we are trying to be extremely more mindful of that.
yeah.
So I guess with the conversation about the space and availability there, has there been conversations moving forward of a construction, maybe another type of mausoleum down there? Has that been part of a conversation that we can entertain down the road for availability, I guess, for the residents?
We do have ideas because, we hear a lot that people, they grew up, they lived here, they've been there,
100%.
and they want to be here forever.
Yep.
I mean, literally. So that is really important to us. There's opportunity, as property around the cemetery. I think we maybe can, with the way the market goes right now, we found out a couple of years ago one house was going on the market. We saw the for sale sign and it was sold 2 days later.
Sure.
So I think maybe some outreach, maybe about that kind of, like, maybe we could have some jump on.
As long as we're thinking about it,
Oh, yeah, no.
yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
Don is also, very mindful of being friendly with neighbors and trying to keep his ear to the ground. And when we did do the first columbarium, the concept at that time did have a second one that could fit in.
Perfect.
So, yeah, we at the least, we would do that.
Yeah. That's encouraging, thanks.
Next.
Which one's next? Public Works? Yeah, do you want to do building maintenance or public works?
Building maintenance.
Maintenance, okay. So with building maintenance, the big thought here that that we're not going to execute for next year's budget, but is a thing that we would like to talk about, maybe strive towards, and is some semblance of getting third-party cleaning companies or third-party cleaners. I think it's something that we need to visit and look at to balance cleaning versus general maintenance of the facilities. If you're cleaning a facility that's used pretty much, more hours than the standard hours, then we need to start getting creative about how we, keep the bathroom clean and also keep the place painted. So I think that's the big picture where we would like to go. So right now, Steve Fluke is filling in for the building maintenance foreman. He's doing a phenomenal job. And with the help of Keith, we're looking at staggering hours, bringing in part-timers at strategic times to try and come up with how we can look at this. But I think that's the big picture is where we would like to keep looking forward. is how we can, we own a lot of town facilities now, and I think the maintenance of them, cleaning and maintenance are things that a balancing act that we need to work on. So, I mean,
So I guess right now, the question of that, Aaron,
Yeah.
we're doing that in-house then, I take it? I'm trying to understand how we're doing it now. We're doing it all in-house.
We're doing it all in-house. We have a contract for, the HVAC maintenance, and we have a contract for electrical needs, as needed, but the rest, yeah.
Rest of it's all in-house.
Are you talking about like an after-hours cleaning company coming in when the building's closed?
Yeah,
To clean bathrooms, garbage,
yeah.
just, do the maintenance after hours so during the day?
The general cleaning, I think, I don't think it can ever go away. People need to be here ready to clean.
Well, winter's
during the
coming
day.
too, that's
Yeah.
pretty messy over there too.
Yeah, I think we need to get more, like I said, the freshen up paint and fix, some people we can do in-house.
Well, that's not really, yeah, I don't know, so you're talking about a company that would clean and also paint and,
No,
Oh.
it's a conversation. I'm
Yeah.
thinking that we actually bring in people to clean, and then we do the maintenance more
Yeah.
in-house.
more
Yeah, it's
about,
just diverting some, I think we'd save a lot that way too.
Some
Yeah.
hours.
but again, I don't know the collective bargain agreement, if it's okay to outsource some of their work. Is that gonna be an issue?
Right, I think, again, that's why we need to.
That's what we'll have
we
to
need
look into.
develop
Yeah, it could be
a
a-
bigger
yeah.
If you're
plan.
outsourcing some of their work, it might be an issue.
I think just reclassifying the workers without losing workers would be, I think that's the issue. It's not really the work, it's really the number of workers. And we have enough maintenance work to keep everyone employed and just simply outing out the cleaning. So switching that job title is what all it will entail. Is that what you think?
Maybe, yeah, I don't wanna say that definitively, but.
All right, well, I won't hold you to it. I'm just,
I see a resistance a little bit, but we'll have to work on that,
Yeah,
don't you?
I think as long as the hours aren't reduced, I think,
Yeah.
John, you're right, but we need to consider that.
Oh, yeah.
It's something
You know, if we're
gotta
gonna
consider.
disenfranchise our employees,
Yeah,
that's definitely a consideration.
yeah. Okay,
okay?
understand.
But as far as, when we look through the general building maintenance, this is the nitty gritty of buying cleaning supplies, buying paper products, paying for the elevator maintenance, that's what this budget will do. We did increase some equipment lines to, buy better vacuums and things of that nature, the backpack vacuums and such. Increase the equipment and tools that these guys can use.
Now, Madam Controller, are we doing that kind of purchase through central procurement as we move to more centralized, or are we still having each department?
To be honest, I'm having trouble hearing Erin because she's such a soft speaker.
Oh,
She's not
sorry.
that loud on the mic, and I have a buzzing above my head.
Oh,
I
Sorry.
apologize.
It's okay, I'm sorry.
What type of purchasing?
The cleaning supplies and what else did you say?
Paper products,
Paper.
yeah, cleaning products.
So right now, I think your department is doing, the building department is ordering that in large quantities and
Yeah.
splitting it up between the departments or the locations that need it. So it is kind of purchased in bulk to try to recognize a savings.
Correct. Yeah, that is correct.
Thank you.
Is there any kind of consortium, towns coming together to purchase all of those items together to lower the cost? I know that school districts, do a lot of their purchasing, bidding out those items.
So yeah, we utilize a lot of Monroe County contracts, which allow piggybacking. I would say that we do that a fair amount, especially in the DPW highway end of things. As far as some of this other stuff, yeah, sometimes there's like a county contract to, in like interior doors that we've done.
Sure.
We will utilize things like that, but sometimes not. Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
Do you have any other questions on building maintenance, or, yeah?
Just one question I
Yeah.
do, Aaron. Building maintenance, so it's
Yeah,
all the town buildings.
yes,
Okay. This one,
yes.
police, community center,
Community center, DPW.
library.
Library,
Okay.
Camp Eastman,
All
yeah.
right, but the library, some of them have full-time custodians, correct?
Yes, the
Okay.
library has a full-time.
Because I remember we changed that to
Yes,
have
yes.
custodians. I don't know how many full-time custodians we have. I know there's probably one at the library, and there's one at community center, I believe. I see somebody in there in the morning, full-time.
The
But
community center is, yeah, that's a full-time and a part-time,
after he leaves, then a part-time comes.
Correct.
Okay.
correct?
Library, same thing, do you know? I should
Yes.
ask Greg. Yeah, same
Yes.
thing. Part-time, full-timer, and then a
A
part-timer.
part-timer, yes,
Is there a turnover a lot with the part-timers?
at times,
Yeah,
yes.
there always is.
Says,
Yeah, I know it.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We'll go to. So obviously bread and butter here, public works, but this is, all encompassing, so the administration general fund. We can go through with administration, engineering, I think central garage, trees, solid waste, and then we get into the highway funds, and sanitary and storm. So I'll just do some highlights here, but one of the increases that you'll see in Public Works Administration is the addition back of a part-time seasonal clerk for the summer hours for helping in the busy season with right-of-way permits, landscape agreements, renewing insurances, like and then also the mailings out for paving and such. So she will come. It will be like May to September for 4 hours a day. Engineering is most of our engineering is related to projects, so I would say that the engineering for big projects gets tied in with the project fund. So this is more one-off engineering lines for smaller studies or technical assistance that we need. So it changes every year. We've had looks at steep slopes and roadway management and things like that that we would solicit help with.
So that's the budget this year. I'm looking at 881. Is that what it is? Right, for engineering?
It's 20,000.
All right, the 881 is, this line here. Yeah, okay,
Central garage.
okay. It's up here, this one. So 20 that's for your department though. The 20,000? Right, okay. Okay. Okay, okay, thank you.
Forget that. In the traffic control, so in traffic control, we do in-house make all of our own steins. So we buy the reflective material, we buy the blanks, and we have a staff that makes them and goes out and installs them. So we did the software and the computer that makes the vinyl cutter that we would like to replace the vinyl cutter this year, next year with the budget. don't think that that is in here right now, but that is something that we would like to do. We make all the temporary signs for when you're oil and stoning and all the signs. I mean, they go around and as we oil and stone and pave areas, they check and make sure all the signs are fresh, they're not faded, they're not dented. Obviously, when there's accidents, they go out. They're the ones that fix all of that. Sidewalk snow plowing, nothing. You know, we have a great sidewalk fleet, so we're not looking to buy any new machines, but maintenance of them, obviously, the more it snows and the more they need maintenance. So we have the mechanics do a great job keeping them running when we need them to. Yeah, some of the sidewalk plows are used through this summer. We have different attachments that we can put on them to utilize them as, you know, forklift and other things. And sidewalk construction, so this budget is for the in-house replacement of sidewalks, so we do have a sidewalk crew. You know, what we strive to do the most is when we get a driveway permit application, we go out and we review if they have a sidewalk going through there. So the way we approach it is if they're willing to make the investment into a brand new driveway, then we feel that we should do our part and make sure that the sidewalk is in good repair. So that's one of the incentives to file a driveway permit is if you know, to make sure that it's getting looked at and that sidewalks or gutters or anything else that are near your driveway are being addressed.
And that's usually done by our crews. We self-perform that stuff. Because they did a lot of that on Bellhurst this year.
Yes, they did.
They did a lot. They did a nice job down there too, because there were a lot of sidewalks that had the asphalt over them, right?
Yeah.
But you know, when I talked to some neighbors, I made sure that they knew, get a permit first. They have to know that, they gotta get a permit first. And then you guys will go down there, especially when there's asphalt over the sidewalk. That's gotta get done before the driveway,
Correct.
correct? So, there was a lot of that on Bellhurst. Hurst Street over there. So, but that was good, they did, so that's mostly self-performed when we do that stuff, okay?
Yeah, the smaller skip block repairing and things of that nature is what
Yeah.
we would do in-house. I mean, if we
Okay.
identified a whole street that we thought, you know, needed a new repair, then that's the type of work we would, you know, contract
Okay.
out.
Yeah, Latasha, the street looks good, a lot of new sidewalks on that street, huh?
See?
Look good? Of course, you have a lot to do with it, right? That's what neighbors say? Yeah, no.
There you go.
No, they did a nice job down there, they did.
Right
There was a
answer.
lot of new driveways on that street,
Right
quite a
answer.
few of them. That's what really got it going on Bellhurst, so.
In solid waste, this is the budget that primarily does the brush pickup. So this is the Prentice loaders going around picking up brush curbside for the residents. We also use this to contract to get rid of solid materials at our yard. So you know, the top one I would say is concrete. When we rip out sidewalks, you know, we bring them back to the yard, and when we accumulate a stockpile, then we'll use that to process it. Also in here, we still find it highly successful to send out the brush postcard with the dates. That has helped phone calls significantly.
I know we've had a conversation about leaves. Is there a number that you can relate to? Because I guess we move our leaves and take them to a different town, correct? Is there a cost related to that? To haul them? Obviously, there must be a cost related if we have to
Yes,
load
of
them up
course there is.
at our DPW and take them to another town and be dumped, correct?
Yeah.
There's got to be a cost to that.
Oh yeah.
Is that in here or not?
No.
Okay, I'm just curious, because we've talked about it.
Yeah. No. It's a number I could come up if you want to.
Yeah, I just, think,
we do
it
it
seems like a
ourselves.
topic of conversation
Oh, yeah.
recently about leaf pickup in our town,
Yeah.
and it seems to be that most residents don't understand, and we've talked about it, that it's where we put the leaves. is one of the major concerns here, because we have so many trees in Arundecoit.
Yeah, it's the top.
So I'm just
concern,
curious,
yeah.
when residents are asking to say, well, what's the issue? We have to haul them, what does that cost? Well, that question comes up.
Well, and what we, to be honest, what we struggle to get rid of right now is only the leaves for the fraction of residents that bring them to our yard
Wow.
that we struggle with getting rid of.
And that's gotta be a small percentage. I mean, you
Oh,
must have
yeah.
contractors that go there, and landscapers dump in our DPW too, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a, I don't know if I could come up with a good.
No,
Yeah,
for a
but
later
I mean,
conversation, I just know that I've been
the
asked a couple
percentage
times.
of the leaves that we are dealing with right now,
Yeah.
I would highly anticipate that it's barely out of the single digits out of the
Sure.
leaves in town.
Yeah.
What is the DEC restriction on leaf disposal?
The DEC restriction, it would be a higher level. It would be a Part 365 permit, and that would just increase. What that permit does is it gives a broader picture, so it treats our whole facility as an umbrella, as a total materials handling plan. So that's where everything we bring back to the yard would then be on the table, whereas right now it's not. So it would be a balancing act if we got into a Part 365 permit between millings and leaves and concrete and all of it.
Well, what's the estimated cost for a brush truck, the vacuum that sucks up, and if you know the cost for also maintenance?
You mean the truck that would suck up? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what that truck would cost. I've seen certain towns have a dedicated truck, and I think other ones have like a trailer attachment that they would tow behind something else. We've seen and heard different ways that folks and other departments do it. Some of them go out with like backpack blowers. They blow all the leaves out into the road. They come up with a loader and they scoop them up.
That's what the city does.
Yeah.
City of Rochester does that, yes.
I mean, the implications are, there's tons, but number one is where are the leaves going to go after we
Yeah.
do all of that? But, we're a what they call a municipal separate storm sewer system. So we are permitted and regulated by the DEC because we are a separate storm drainage system. So we have to monitor all of our outfalls. We have to certify that we street sweep all of our roads, and we have to street sweep all of our roads in certain sensitive watershed areas draining, which, to be frank, is a lot of part of town because we're surrounded by sensitive water bodies. So if we got into putting more material near
Right.
the road, then we're just putting a different stress on the ability to meet our permit requirements, to making sure our drainage system is functioning properly.
What is the opportunity to contract with a adjoining municipality that also picks up leaves? Is there an opportunity to partner with them?
For the other towns that I know that do it, I think that they're, already stressed in their own scenario of dealing with it. Certain towns, they mandate overtime to handle it.
Monroe County has a solid waste disposal program pilot that they're doing. Can you talk a little bit about that, or if you don't know, that's fine.
I am familiar with the city of Rochester that has an arrangement with Monroe County to bring their leaves to both Van Lair as well as the Eco Park facility. They have space there. And I have talked with Monroe County on if there was any such opportunity for us to get involved in that, and they didn't even blink and said they don't have room right now. They said that they are looking for future sites on where they could process leaves. They'd keep me in mind, was what I got.
And just for the record, I have not bagged one bag of leaf in 20 years. I just mulch mine, and it works fine. All right. Okay. Next.
The tree program, one of our leading favorite programs with this, in this budget, we have to start paying for the management of the tree keeper software, which is what our arborist, and also there's a public facing view for this software to view the street trees located in the right of way throughout town. With the past few years, we've been working towards getting a tree trimming cycle where we would contract out sections of town to be able to cycle around town. And the goal of that program would be to touch a tree every 5 years. We do, and that would be out of our contracted services line. So in this budget, I think we'll have to go out to bid to fine tooth comb how far this will get us. But we think we're at about a 7-year cycle. So it's a great start. Super appreciative. But we've ramped up our oil and stone and our paving to meet these, to lower our cost of needs and operations to maintain good roads. And I feel strongly that we need to get on a similar mindset about our trees. We've done a tree audit. Obviously, we have an arborist, so we're very on the overall picture of our trees. And I think we're at a point where we're planting a lot of newer trees, and we have to do everything that we can to preserve and elongate the life that we're getting out of our older trees. So that's where maintenance and trimming and such will just help that cause, so we can get our younger generation of trees up to more impactful, sizes, as we're in losing the other older trees in the right of way. And we are doing the types of species that we're planting and such are much more, he's thoughtful and thinking about, so we're not overly planting one species, silver maples. He's got a diverse plan, so very excited and very happy that on the trajectory that we're on. So it's just, but the tree trimming, I would say, is, something that is important for the program.
I love that idea. In fact, I have a couple of addresses to send to you where people are a little concerned about the trees and their trees in the right of way needing to be trimmed. But as I've talked to people, there's much pride in their trees in the right of way, and they're very thankful. But
we hear a lot of real gratitude about street trees. So yeah, most, a lot, even younger generations and such, when I talk with people that are new to neighborhoods, that's one of the things that they say really drew them to the neighborhoods that they're going to, is street trees. So, and the street pruning plan that we're looking at, we're trying to, the city of Rochester has a very robust plan that's where they feel that, that getting to a tree every 5 years really saves a lot on emergency takedowns and other things. Also, in this budget, the landscaping line, so that's what we majority use to buy the trees in-house that we plant ourselves. So, yeah, this line did get decreased, not pointing out, not saying it's just the more money we have, the more trees we plant. So on average, different species, but on average, we plant a tree for about $180 a tree. And if we were going to contract out other people for other companies to plant a tree, it would be $650, which is why we made the switch a few years ago to try and plant more trees ourselves. So with this year's budget, $25,000 is about 130 trees, and with next year's budget, that'll be 72 trees. So it'll be a decrease in the amount of trees we plant.
I think last year was the first year that we planted more trees than we took down, correct? It's 2020.
That's right. Any questions? All right, ready for Highway 1?
Yeah, that's.
Highway 1 is the bread and butter of paving. So when you look at the revenue, there's, chargebacks on us, but this is where we bring in the CHIPS money each year. And with this, with the CHIPS money that we get each year, there's 3 funds that are always, steadfast, CHIPS, pave, and extreme weather. So we hard plug those into the budget. From there, the other lines that you see are related to oil. We hard budget our oil and stone. We don't use CHIPS money for that, and that is just a balance. We want to be able to make the roads that need it better, but oil and stone is the most cost-effective, best way to make sure that we're keeping our good roads good. So that same like on trees, we want to rotate around town. We want to get to a road every 7 years with oil and stone. It's pennies on the dollars to pave as opposed to a mill and repave of the road.
If I could, Aaron, so
Yes.
the 7 years, that's the cycle for the oil and stone. What's the cycle for a mill and fill? Is there a number on that as far as years go for a street, or is it?
I wouldn't say it's a time cycle. I mean, the expert sitting next to me, he can say
Right.
it better.
Tommy and I, we've talked about that also in the past, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We go out on the roads, I would say, and we have a plan, and then at the end of the winter, we take a drive, and we're trying to address the worst areas that we see.
yep.
Obviously, it's way deeper than let's just show up with the milling machine and we'll be here in a week. We have a lot of due diligence to do to make sure that we're being responsible before we go. When we go on and pave a road, we want to be the last one on that road.
100%.
So we know that there's water main problems or gas
Are
problems.
right on point.
Then
If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it in
Yeah.
sequence. I agree with you 100%. Because that costs dollars when you don't. I'm experienced that myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, Madam Commissioner, we have a lot of the small roads like Birch, I think it's Birch Hill, if I'm not mistaken, that are our roads, but they're very, very tiny roads, that haven't been looked at, or do we have a schedule for those roads separate from the major roads?
Yes, so what we do is myself and my working foreman, we'll go through, we'll evaluate roads, not only that, but we also have, whether complaints come in from residents or concerns. We also had a engineering firm go through here a few years ago and evaluate every road and kind of gave it a grade of, you got a couple more years on it, you gotta probably do it soon, or you've got another 8 to 10 years, whatever, to, get through it and all that. Excuse me. So that's where some of the other roads come in. It also comes into like traffic and all that. And then we kind of go from there.
You still use that, Tom? You still use that, what you're talking about, when they went through the town?
We use the
So
engineering
right now, do you know what possibly you're gonna do next year?
We're getting a good
not-
idea of it.
all
I
right.
mean, what we also got to do is kind of like we did with Seymour Road this year, as some of you have seen and all that. It was in rough shape last year. The winter didn't do any good for it. It actually made it even worse.
Right.
So obviously that was a high priority this year, especially being a secondary road connecting Culver Road to Party Road with a school being nearby and all that.
Yep.
So we had to bump that up a little. And that's kind of how we do our evaluation, again, not only through complaints and concerns, but also, again, the engineering firm and then our own visual with my working foreman and some others in the department.
Thank you.
And then again, just real quick with the oil and stone, and again, I know it's not the most popular thing out there as we send out information and I speak with residents and all that stuff. And as people know, I can talk here and there. Oil and stone is basically, again, it's like sealing your driveway. You're using that sealant to protect your investment. We're using the oil to protect our investment as taxpayers. Yes, I have to drive through it also. I know the stone chips the trucks and it kind of scratches it and all that in our own personal vehicles and all that. The stone is put down so people can drive over it right away. Obviously, as you know, your driveway, you can't drive on it for 36 to 48 hours, and it all depends on conditions, atmospheric conditions, and stuff like that. Excuse me. Obviously, we can't close a road down
Right.
for 48 hours unless
Yeah.
something's going on.
That makes sense,
Or
yeah.
longer for this type of maintenance. So as we model from other towns and all that, what we're looking to do is, rather than going from street here to street here to street here, it's kind of concentrate in one area, as a commissioner mentioned about the trees, is do the same thing with the oil and stone. The more oil and stone we do, the better maintenance we have for our roads, so we don't have to do as much mill and pave and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll say Seymour Road, I'm just gonna throw it out there, any road, we'll just use Seymour. Seymour Road itself was probably close to $90,000 to mill it, pave it, and all that stuff.
Sure.
Now to oil and stone, it's gonna be a fraction of it, and probably close to $2,200, if that. So you're looking at a lot less for the maintenance.
Right.
And other towns, again, they do the same thing every 5, 6 years, as the commissioner mentioned, where they'll go through, they'll maintain it. If there's a small issue with the road, they'll fix it and move on from there. But it's the oil is what you need, and the stone helps push it down, and again, enables you to drive on it. Then we go through, we fog over it, which puts another layer of protection on there, kind of holds the stone in place, as well as keeps the dust down too. And then we go through, we sweep them, we maintain them and all that.
Yeah.
Same thing with our paving roads. We will go through every road we pave this year, and we'll go through it a couple times, and we'll go through it once before the winter. We'll go through and we'll kind of clean it up and make sure any asphalt that may have broken off or was ever left over gets cleaned up, and then it's ready for winter. And then again, we hit it again in the spring.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. No, very good. I think, 'cause I think a lot of residents don't really understand it, and I think that's a great explanation.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the major in Highway 1, those are the major lines that we like to summarize. Highway 3 is mainly the equipment and truck maintenance budget lines. So everything you see in here, the software license, this is for the diagnostic tools that the mechanics use for the different trucks. We do use for supplies and such, we use what do we call it? I'm sorry, but we use a earth-friendly release agent. We don't use diesel anymore to get the asphalt off the back of the truck at the end of the day. Trying to think. Our mechanics, the vast majority that we buy, the parts lines and such, you'll see are high. It's because we fix most things ourselves. We do have lines that go out and send it to a third party mechanic and such to maybe that is manufacturer specific, but our guys are really creative and really good at maintaining our equipment and keeping our fleet moving. Anything else? Yeah, I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary on this one.
I guess one thing, Aaron, if I could go through here on the uniforms, I see 2024, nothing, 2025. Is that something new for 2026 I've noticed, or is it, why is it, there's nothing previous to that on the line?
The uniforms were, it's twofold. The uniforms are part of their contract now.
Okay, I didn't know that. I wouldn't, okay, that makes sense.
And also, though I think Shannon explained it either, we used to have employees divided. So, for myself, example, a portion of my salary would have come from sanitary, from stormwater, and then
Okay.
Highway 1. Well, we're not doing that anymore. So now everyone kind of has a home account, and their home account gets charged the full uniform.
Okay. Okay.
And snow and ice, we do sell, the school districts come and get salt from us as needed. And so that, minor revenue, we also revenue is we plow the county roads and the state roads in town. But, You know, we do a third-party one-person plowing class, which is in here, a certification. So we have an in-house training program for like, a class and we in-house train, our new drivers with the CDLs and then we bring in a third party to kind of sign off, certify them, and bring in both. They do a dry and a like live weather snow event. They come and certify them.
No, we talked about last year making that a revenue stream. How's that going this year? Are we expanding out that training to other municipalities so that we can get the benefit?
So discuss what other municipalities, they kind of have their own program. They do, like Webster kind of does more of their in-house. Brightonwood does more of this third-party training. So it all depends, everyone's kind of, they got their own procedures. We have talked to them here and there, and no one really seemed, they kind of want to stick with their own program for now, it's working. So they don't want to disrupt it right now. So we may change something in the future, they may want to change something in the future, so they're kind of, again, when it's time to discuss it, they'll bring it up, but as of now, everyone kind of wants to do their own thing.
I know that, for example, the CWA had problems getting some of their drivers into Pennsylvania. I think they went for mainly, you probably know this more, schools. Is there an opportunity with the labor to maybe partner with them? As I know it's private to municipality, but maybe let's look at the legality of maybe opening it up to other industries.
Well, I guess, I know we talked about this in the past too, Tom. How do we handle if a new employee's hired and they don't have a CDL? Do we help them obtain that CDL? Because I know the laws have changed drastically the last 5 years as far as New York State to obtain a CDL, as far as the regulations to gain that. So, and do we help in that process, or do we have certified instructors? Instructors are employees that do that. I'm just curious how we handle that. To the supervisor's point, you know.
So back about 2020, the New York State adopted the federal government Department of Transportation regulations and all that. You'll notice like the driving manuals have changed over.
Yes.
In New York State, they're going with federal guidelines now. So they required anybody who has or trains at CDL, has CDL vehicles, to come up with their own training program.
Okay.
So Monroe County DOT was able to help us out. Myself and another employee designed a program, and I've got to document everything, obviously, in case they do come in and do an audit. Then there's an actual online submission form that we'll go through as an employee goes through 3 different steps. They have to do a classroom, so we had to come out with a PowerPoint presentation and a written exam. Once they pass that, they go on to driving. They do so many hours. We require 40 hours, minimum 40 hours on the road. There is really no standard. So we start with 40 and we can go up there. It all depends on the driver and how they're acting with the vehicle and all that. Excuse me. Then the third part is an actual skills test. And that's your backing up, your parallel park, your alley docking and all that. And they go through with some of our instructors who've been driving for many years. And we definitely have confidence in them and training and overseeing all that. So then they'll go through these 3 different levels, sign off on it. We submit it to the program management. They'll kick it back and say the driver's all set. Then they can go and take their New York State driver test. So one of our guys will bring them out again.
Sure.
They'll go out again. They'll do all the training. They'll go through the whole book. The whole book with them. Do all the training and all that, and then New York State will give them their license.
So obviously, what you're telling me that New York State recognizes the training that we're doing to get them to that point.
Yes.
Okay, that was okay.
Yes, they do.
Very
Perfect.
lucky, and
Yeah.
Our instructors are very well,
Okay.
very good, and very knowledgeable. So we use people that have a Class A tractor trailer license all the way down to like a Class B. So we unfortunately don't have a tractor trailer anymore, but we do have a Class A restricted. So anyone hauling the trailer with like the excavator on it, or a roller, or 10-ton roller on it, must have a Class A
Sure.
restricted license.
Sure.
But only those people that have a Class A or Class A restricted are allowed to teach that Class A
Perfect.
certification.
That makes perfect sense.
So myself, who has a Class B, I can't teach above my certification.
Yep.
And that's all documented, there's forms, there's
Yep.
all sorts of stuff.
Thank you, because I know it's gotten difficult.
Yes. Yep.
You know.
So there may be another opportunity to partner and driving a small revenue stream. I think we have to look at the contract to make sure that we're not violating the union contract, but maybe we can work on that for next year.
Many municipalities have already adopted this through their department. I know, again, Monroe County already has. Many of the towns have, because their guys can't move forward unless they have this class, this in-house class. If they don't, they have to contract it out, and it's several $1,000s to go and
100%.
rent the vehicle, because you gotta rent their vehicle.
You bet.
have to pay their instructors and all that stuff.
Yep.
So it is something we can do and reach out to. I did speak with some of the fire services around here, but being a fire vehicle, they are no longer required to have a commercial driver's license. So therefore,
I didn't know that.
Well, I didn't know that either.
Didn't know that. Wow.
That's weird.
CDL will drive any vehicle that says fire rescue on it.
Wow.
So there's 2 reasons to get out of the way. I'm just joking.
Anything that says fire rescue, police, or EMS, we don't need a CDL for.
Wow.
Emergency vehicle.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for that, Tom, yeah.
I do have a question. The van, this is slightly off topic. So the van that we have for the rec department, part of the issue has been the CDL license. Is there a way to help the rec department with that?
So I know that, Megan Hoffman has been
Yes.
doing some research and stuff like that on it. We don't have anybody in-house at DPW that can do that. You need a passenger endorsement. And you also would have to be, have a school bus that you'd actually have to take out and drive on that and be
Right.
qualified on an actual school
Yeah,
bus.
because
So
that's right.
Anything involving, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No.
I'll say anything involving children kicks into all these new laws
Sure.
and mandates and all that. When I spoke with East Aronic Transport.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up.
They said it's kind of a logistical nightmare.
Right.
It's nothing that we can't do. It's nothing we can't handle. It's just getting to that point.
Yeah.
So once recreation goes through and Shannon goes through, Megan goes through, and it's the first hurdle taken care of, then they can move on to the actual training and the physicals and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
Lot
It is a
different
lot.
than your normal
Yeah.
CDL for a dump truck.
Yeah. And so, again, my former school board, training, that's been a big issue within the school districts, is getting the licensing. It's hard to get people to go through that.
I know we spoke with East Aronic Transport, and I
Yes.
talked to their safety officer. I usually talk to them like on a weekly basis on different things, and he'll bring it up and mention it, but I know that the mandating stuff is very, very hard to get. And so they gotta be on it every day with their own certified instructors and all that.
Yep.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay. What is that, drainage? Sewer. Okay. Where are we?
So, ready for drainage?
Yes.
So storm drainage, this is the, what I spoke about slightly earlier, the maintenance oversight of the separate storm sewer system. So we do have a separate, this is not within the tax, this is a separate fund, or am I saying that right? Yeah, this is a special assessment, that's right. It's a town-wide drainage district. So this is mainly to take care of the infrastructure within the drainage system, replacing catch basins, manhole covers, cleaning storm lines and things of that nature. So with the, contracted services and such, we want to, like, with the CIP also last night, thank you again, we want to treat our storms, or also by permit requirement, is to make sure that we are addressing and maintaining our collection system. So that's why we have a dedicated storm vac truck that is all it does is catch basins, storm mains, and storm manholes, and they're wonderful. And making sure that our collection system is addressed, and they do inspections when they're doing this, and that's what generates the repairs and needs to make sure that we're keeping our system up to snuff. That's basically what all this does. It's a dedicated crew that, you know, goes around, does the storm mains and manhole covers and all of the same. Adjusting all of that when we mill and pave a road, they go in, they adjust all the covers and grates to make sure it's flush. Okay.
Okay.
Questions?
No, self-explanatory.
I forgot to mention, but we're a member of the Monroe County Stormwater Coalition, and what that entails is, we pay an annual fee, which is a part of this budget, and they are just presenting a new intermunicipal agreement for us to continue that relationship with Monroe County. I actually just got a draft, I have not read it yet, so when I read it, that'll probably be something that legal will have to review, so we'll talk about it at a later date, but that is a relationship that we have. But the relationship with Monroe County is not really infrastructure related, it's more about our permit compliance. So we have to comply with 6 minimum control measures. The first 2 are related to public education and outreach. We're required to, you know, we have information on our website. We're, you know, Larry the H2O hero from the Monroe County. And then we also are required to have a program to detect and eliminate illicit discharges. So that's anything other than rainwater that goes into the drainage system, which goes directly into our local waterways. So that is also another reason why we're out in our collection systems, and we do annual outfall inspections, and we have to keep track of mapping and backtracking and all of that. So that's our GIS. Chris Brett maintains all of that record keeping. So that is the relationship with Monroe County that they help us with. Any questions? Thing. The consolidated sewer district. You know, the first, the consolidated sewer maintenance, this is, you know, the maintenance of the collection system in general. So contracted services here, that goes to lining materials as well as, helping with root control throughout the system. So we have a rotation throughout town, especially with certain hot spots, to make sure that we're doing a root control application so roots can't penetrate into the sewer. In here, the lateral camera, but we have funds in here to, manhole frames and covers. Landscaping is when we're after, repairs and dig jobs that we would go in and be able to restore the turf. Asphalt, that's all that type of thing. This also allows us, we have a license agreement to bring the Vector spoils back to Monroe County for proper disposal. Questions? Did I miss anything? And the next one, the consolidated sewer service, which is 8121. We are in the equipment line. We're getting a camera reel, so this is what goes out, like the lateral camera for when they do the house calls.
And I just want to point out, that's very helpful, because we've got a lot of, like my house sits on an old stream, so it constantly is getting flooded, so thank you.
Yeah, no, which I probably should say more often just to remind people, because it seems like I didn't know that, but you can call DPW 336-6090, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Yes, if you call on Christmas, we will come, and we will try and help you clear, any issue from the lateral, out into the street. We also make sure that the street is, functional and everything, will come and pay a visit. So don't ever not call. Don't call us first.
As I've been talking to people the last couple of months, that's one thing that they've brought up is how responsive your staff is, and responding quickly. So, I mean, that's, people are desperate at that, at that point when their sewer backs up, and
Oh,
to
absolutely.
be so responsive, they really appreciate it, so thank you for that.
No problem.
Wish I'd known, I just paid somebody. Well,
Always used to happen at Thanksgiving time.
And the consolidated sewer pumps, this is for the 28 pump stations located throughout town. So the one highlight here is, I should open with the sewer department in general is probably looking at quite a staffing change in the next bit. The working foreman over the summer retired, and we did recently replace him with Jake Solenchek, who's doing wonderful. But I would say that the sanitation staff in general are closing in at closer to the end of their careers than the beginnings. So Christian has done an amazing job where, a bunch of years ago, we standardized on flight pumps. We, gone through, standardized a lot of our pump stations, and we've reconstructed them. So when it comes to maintenance, when the guys go up to a pump station, it has the same similar flight pump, has a similar control panel, and we're trying to get them even set up the same. Like, we like submersible setups, so, and we've eliminated all the confined space entry into pump stations. So we've done what I feel is a colossal job investing into the actual infrastructure of pump stations, and now we really need to change our focus on maintenance, but focusing on the people infrastructure that are going to keep things going. So that is a thing that is going to have to happen the next few years. We have some really great talent and some really eager staff that are looking to, because this isn't, especially sanitary and storm, and we get into late night underground repairs. Not every repair looks the same or feels the same, and one might be 5 feet deep, one might be 12, and how do we handle that? And a lot of it's experience, so it's how we can, create an environment where we're encouraging these younger staff members to learn things that really can't be said sometimes.
Can you talk a little bit more about how you're cross-training for the next, I'm used to training too deep, so you have the primary person,
Yep.
and then you identify future talent and train them too deep below, so they can do the job above them and the job below them. Can you talk about how you're doing that now? Because you do have a unique department, which is different than everybody else. So I know it's not a budget item, but it's a future budget item as we move people around and as we promote people.
Yeah, of course. In general, especially lately, since we've been shuffling around who's doing, like, with the recent promotion to the working foreman, and then looking at different avenues. But we have a lot of talent, and we have a lot of talent not just in sanitary sewer pump shop per se. We have a lot of talent in highway and parks, and some of these things interrelate. So it's important, I feel like, to, like, we need a department of Swiss Army knives. I don't feel like we should have people that are overly dedicated, especially early on in their careers, that are too comfortable in really anything. Because if a 2018 windstorm happened again, guess what? Everyone's the tree crew tomorrow, or XYZ. So, so we especially laborers, and we're pushing MEOs to really get around, and then to pair them up with crews that really have a lot of experience and a lot of expertise. So we're fortunate on the level of in-house expertise we have, and that's where I think it's a balance of how we move forward and how we can continue. Like, there's certain things we have to do in-house to be quite frank, because we can't afford anything different. But that, you know, something happens on Thanksgiving, you know, then we're the ones out there. That's what's got to happen. So I think that's really important, is people, you know, they can fix the sidewalk, they can cut a tree, they can operate the brush truck, and they can, you know, fix a sewer lateral.
So one of the things that we talked about starting last year, and we haven't had a chance to implement it this year, is actually setting aside training funds that will allow for our workers to take extra classes or extra expertise or extra qualifications outside of work hours, and how that will look in a union contract to allow them to add on skill sets, so therefore they can have the opportunity to be trained already as far as the basics are concerned, so that when the opportunity to get the experience to do the hands-on comes. So we'll have to probably look at that in the 2026 year, going to 27, of carving out an additional training fund or training opportunities that allow someone to be trained so that they can start filling those upper positions across the board. Just something to keep in mind.
One thing we also do, if I may add, please, some of our manufacturers or some of our actual companies will come out with training, free training, all that for the employees in that division. We've got 3 employees at the end of the month going to flight for updates and new pumps and new technologies and how to run things more efficient, how to maintain them and all that. So 3 of our pump station guys will be going to that training very soon. They also came out with one from Tyco, which is our sweeper manufacturer, for some free training down in Syracuse. So our 2 primary sweeper operators and one of our mechanics will go down there for that free class and obtain, again, all new stuff, new procedures, how to change this, how to do this, and how to do that, keep it more efficiently, keep the equipment running better, so obviously it's less cost and maintenance. So every now and then we'll find these little classes, or the manufacturer will get a hold of us and say, hey, we're doing this, we got this coming up, whatever, do you have anyone interested? And then also through Cornell University, we will get like paving, we'll get some road classes and stuff like that, where like myself and some of my other crew members will go, and we'll get, again, same thing, new technologies, a new way, and you know, you guys do it this way, maybe you want to try this or whatever. But the real good ones are when the manufacturers call up and say, we have this available, would you like to send anybody out? And we try to send as much as we can when we can.
Yeah, I agree. So every dollar that we spend on training, someone saves us between $100 to up to $1,000 in experience. So that's, thanks very much for leaning forward on that.
It also goes with the mechanics also. There's several classes they send the mechanics to, especially with everything going electric and more computers and all that. That way the mechanics can stay on top and one step ahead.
And it also falls into the safety profile with the new training. So, okay, Madam Commissioner, next.
No, I'm just looking through the. What? Yeah, no, with the sewer, you know, I kind of led with, but yeah, we do want to identify some staff that we would send to a flight-specific pump class. You know, and then within this budget, it just keeps us into cleaning materials and the supplies that we did to maintain the pumps.
Any other questions? Thanks again, and I really appreciate all the work that you've done, and the work that your staff has done.
Thank you to your staff.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Controller, are you going to do human resources, or are we going to skip that one for right now?
Sent me an email before he left, so I can read his email.
Okay.
As to what he wanted to talk about. So the HR department budget was presented with no personnel reductions. The supervisor's budget eliminates the position of the safety coordinator, but I believe someone needs to be dedicated to this role. I would like to offer other cost-saving alternatives With the development of Munis as an efficient payroll solution, it is feasible that the payroll clerk position could be reduced to part-time or combined with the duties of a finance clerk. The coordinator of diversity, equity, and inclusion may also be an opportunity to combine duties with another position and/or reduction to part-time. The role is essential for assuring we are hiring and operating in a manner that meets our values while optimizing our human resources. The person serving in this role should be available to staff and management Monday through Friday, though they may be assigned additional duties throughout the week. The incumbent has extensive experience in constituent services, offering a potential dual role in 2026. I am happy to discuss these options in further detail. Townwide, we wish to consolidate general conference and training budgets under the HR budget. This is the first step towards a more robust townwide training assessment by gaining an understanding of each department's priorities. A needs assessment would follow to expose gaps. Excluded are the police due to their specialty training needs, as well as the library and Seabreeze Water District, which have their own board oversight.
Just explain, and talking to the other town supervisors, the fire marshal and code are their safety person. So we're basically spending double the amount of money that we need to. So between the EM, the emergency manager, and the fire marshal, we can cover all the safety needs of the town. So that's just a duplicate role that we're spending money on.
Can I ask a question about that? Did you discuss that with the departments before making that decision to eliminate that?
That's what we're doing right now. So this is a proposed budget.
I understand
And-
that. Before you suggested eliminating the safety coordinator, you are saying that it is redundant. That's what you're saying. Was that in consultation with our staff and not other towns?
The answer is yes, we brought this up last year, and it was suggested last year. We didn't do it last year.
Who suggested it?
It actually came from Mr. Lang. After doing research, I didn't do it last year. After researching with the other towns and looking at how they handle safety, it was concluded that maybe that's a good way of savings between the emergency manager, code enforcement, and fire safety covers all the safety needs. I am giving up on my side half of the assistant position in order to pay for security for the for armed security bailiffs, at the courthouse. So I felt that having the courthouse safer was more important than having someone filling a position in the supervisor's office.
Well, first of all,
Wait, John,
Go-
can
I'm
I
sorry,
just,
go ahead.
clarification, what assistant position?
So I have two positions. I have their official title, assistant to the supervisor.
Oh, okay.
And you have the secretary, and then you also have the secretarial position, the secretary that I use for communications. That went down to halftime in order to pay for the armed guards at the courthouse.
No, I 100% support that, and I did hear that from our judges, that they do need
yeah, we
more
understand
staffing
that.
in
But
the
I would
courts.
like to hear, first of all, I think Jason has a good solution to this, to keep the special safety coordinator. And I'd like to hear it from Bill Lang if he approves it. But as of right now, I'd like to keep that safety coordinator in. If Jason does have a good response to that, how we can keep it in at no cost. So I think a safety coordinator, an individual needs to be, we need it. But I would like to hear from Bill Lang if he thinks it'd be a better solution for his staff to take that on or have an individual. Doesn't matter what other towns think, I think we have to do what we gotta do.
It does matter when you look at best practices. As you move forward, you look at what works, not only in New York State, but across the country. So look at towns that are relatively our size, what works for them, we can adopt. So if you don't adopt and change and improve and look at what the best practices are based on data, not on feelings or emotions, that's what we're here for.
Well-
We're not here to guess.
Well, and
We're not, I'm still talking. We're not here to guess. We're not here to preserve our friends. We're here to look at best practices and what is beneficial to our residents.
Well, I think keeping the safety coordinator, we just got a good safety award, and I think keeping him in the budget is the way to go. I'm not looking at countrywide or anything. I think I'm looking at what's best for Aronicoit, and we just got a good safety award, and I think we got to do it. And I'm not making decisions personally, okay? I make decisions on what I think's right for this town, and I think keeping the safety coordinator is the best practice right now. But I'd like to definitely hear from Bill. He's not here. Jason's not here, but I definitely want to, as it looks right now, I'd like to keep that safety coordinator in, and with Jason's suggestions.
Okay. Any other thing, Madam Controller?
I'm wondering if we could get a copy of that email or have that forwarded, just
Yeah.
because I think there are some really good suggestions. Reducing the DEI coordinator to part-time, I think, is a really good suggestion. But I'd like to see be able to see the other suggestions too.
I can forward the email to you. I appreciate that. This meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Controller?
So after HR, we move on to the administrative offices, starting with the comptroller. My budget is pretty stable year over year. The biggest change in the 26 budget is that we have added an account clerk to my office, but that was reallocated from the Department of Public Works. So it's just moving the costs to a different department. I also have a pending retirement within my office. That employee has a lot of knowledge within the town, has been here a while, and has expressed that they would like to stay on part-time. So that also reduces one of my positions to a part-time position, so that we can continue to utilize that knowledge, which is very important. Other than that, within contracted services, there really aren't any. It's going up a couple thousand, just general expenditures and the auditing budget. We do have a contract with Bonadio Group, which I believe is next year and the year after before we'll go out for a new RFP. So the auditing service is per the contract that we signed a couple years ago. Any questions on comptroller?
Yes, can you talk about what you're doing for procurement? How are you changing it?
For procurement?
Yeah.
Well, right now, we're looking at the policy. I actually have that on my desk. I started looking at it yesterday. I know we've had some questions from our departments regarding the bidding process, and our policy does read that we go with the lowest cost. A lot of towns, and this is allowable by New York State now, that we can do best value, so we'd like to rephrase that to best value. There's also been some concern regarding our RFP process, just that we do require 5 people to be on the selection committee, and sometimes it's difficult to get the 5 people who are named in the policy. That's as far as the policy goes. We are working on central office supply, ordering centrally so that we may be able to recognize discounts for purchasing in bulk. We just had the uniform bid go out this week that is primarily focused on the Department of Public Works for their contract, but can be used for other departments. So hopefully we'll be able to recognize the savings on uniforms townwide. The next bid that I'm hoping to get out early next year would be a printing bid for, the town does a lot of printing, our images magazine, there are things that the library prints, forms for the court. Again, I'm trying to centralize some of that, thinking that if we do it in larger quantities, we can get better pricing on some of these things that are used frequently.
Thank you very much.
One question if I could, Diana, the RFP review board, I guess, I'm trying to understand what that is. What's the requirement to be a part of that program?
Right now, our policy requires a 5-member
Okay.
panel. It is to include the department head for the RFP item, the comptroller, the supervisor, a board liaison, and the town attorney.
So the board liaison, do we have one on there currently?
It depends on the bid. Each department reaches out to the board. I'm not sure if they reach out to everyone.
I've never been reached out to. That's my question, I guess, on how that process.
Has been, I know.
We've gotten emails about
Okay.
it, yeah.
well,
Yeah.
So I think they
Okay.
may just reach out to 1 or 2 and see if somebody can do it.
There have been several times where it's, and I'm sorry, I didn't, like, not trying to contradict, but there have been several times, like this
Okay.
last time, with the pumps, the RFP one that we just did, there was a general email.
Okay.
Going out, that went out,
All right.
so,
okay.
yeah.
Any other
I
questions?
only chimed in because no one else did.
No, any other questions?
Anything else?
Okay, so that concludes our first,
We
sorry.
go over we have unallocated.
Okay, I'm
town
sorry.
board, town
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Okay.
Go for it.
So next would be the unallocated revenues and expenses. The unallocated revenues are revenues that are not associated with any individual department. They include like sales tax, mortgage tax, pilot payments, franchise fees. This is the revenues are only estimated to go up about $8,000 next year. That is because we do have several pilot payment in lieu of taxes that are dropping off next year and will be back on the tax roll. Some of the commercial properties that had those agreements in place. We have increased the sales tax for next year, as well as the mortgage tax, be more in line with what we've been collecting over the last couple of years. Any questions on the revenue side?
One question, and if I could, you mentioned the pilot agreements. Do we have a list of those agreements that are going to be expiring and what the value that's going to be back to our tax roll?
I can get that for you.
I'm just curious, what we're talking about here, because if it's a substantial number for the tax roll.
Sure, I will get that to the board.
Thank you.
As far as the unallocated expenses go, again, these are expenses that can't really be associated with an individual department. They include our insurance premium, that is just general, not associated with a DPW vehicle or a police vehicle. We have those estimates from our insurance company. Our central mailing has a very small number in there, central printing and mailing. We don't really do any townwide mailing, but we do purchase like the copying paper and mail supplies for the mail machine from that account. Other unallocated expenses include our municipal association dues, which is our Association of Towns membership, which will be increasing next year. I did get notification. Our judgment and claims, that is kind of a reserve for any claims that may be forthcoming. Taxes and assessments, the town does own, I believe, just over 100 parcels of property. We do still pay special districts on those properties. We do not pay the property tax, but special districts are paid by everyone. And then, of course, the biggest part here would be our EMS service. We do have a contract with the Arundequite Ambulance to provide those services throughout town. And I believe that contract will be up for renewal after the 26 calendar year, so it'll probably come up next year to be reviewed by the board. There's no questions on that. I do have street lighting in here as well. Street lighting, we have the general townwide street lighting. We have 28 special street lighting districts. Those are pretty standard year over year. In the past, if you look at the 28 districts, it does look like the budgets are going up. In the past, we have budgeted low and we've applied fund balance without it's just the way the budget was done. So this year I did budget the full amounts and showed that we would be using fund balance. Several of these accounts have residual balances from refunds that we received from RG&E or when we were going through the transition with the lighting when we purchased it. So they do have some residual balances that we're trying to use up and save the taxpayers in those districts money. After street lighting, we go to the town board. There's not a lot of changes here. I think the biggest change to note in the town board is a decrease in the employee benefits. Proposed in this budget is to remove health insurance from elected officials. So that is the biggest change. The services category, you know, you can see a drop from like 500 to 100. That has to do with the training that is being centralized to HR. So it's really not a change. It's just a relocation of those expenses.
Okay, so I think we talk about it when we talk about health care for the electives. First of all, they get a stipend if they do not get health care, correct?
Correct.
So that's $2,000.
Yes.
So is that for every full-time employee? Would that be a $2,000 stipend for anybody that's full-time?
That is, I know the non-represented employees get that.
Okay.
I believe it is in the contract
Contract,
for the
CBAs.
Unions as well.
Okay, so, okay. So I think if we're ever gonna eliminate health care from the electives, I think it's gotta be done by board action. It's gotta be done by resolution. I don't think we should just eliminate it in the budget.
Don't disagree,
I
John.
think we're going to high deductible, so I think things are gonna change this year a little bit.
Yep.
Because if we take it out of a budget, we're gonna put it back in next year, I think we have to be on the same page. What are we gonna do in the future? Are we gonna do it? Or maybe, I'm just throwing stuff out there, maybe the electeds pay 50% or more into it, or whatever it is, but if we're gonna try, I think we should, maybe this is the time.
We need to have that conversation, John. I
Yeah.
don't disagree.
I mean, I don't think that we're not gonna get a resolution here real quick, but I think it should be board action, what we're gonna do with healthcare for electives. And what, we keep the stipend or not, it might be something else, because we do get a pension,
Correct.
and if we get a pension, my understanding is a comptroller figures you're a full-time employee. You say part-timers can opt into a pension,
Part-time employees can
Okay.
opt into the retirement.
but I don't think town board opts in, I think it's.
And I
it's
don't
in.
have the answer to
Yeah,
that.
I'd have to talk to Jason, but I
That's a
think
good question,
town
John.
board's in, so according to the comptroller of the state of New York, I believe he figures you're full-time, so. But if we're gonna dabble into this healthcare issue, I think it's gotta be done by board action. But right now, we're going to a high deductible, so there will be some savings, right?
Right, so also proposed in the budget townwide is to move all the non-represented employees to the high deductible plan. We do have a few that are still on the core plan that will, I believe that is almost a $20,000 savings per year in changing that health care for the non-reps.
And then do they pay into their health care, or is it?
Yeah, there's a percentage, right?
So, yeah, I believe if you have the core plan, I believe you're paying 15% of your premium, and the town covers 85%, I believe. With the high deductible plan, I believe it's a 2 or 3% employee contribution, and the town will contribute the remainder for your health insurance.
What is the savings for eliminating healthcare for electeds? Roundabout is fine.
Looking at the numbers on the budget, that's all that changed in your benefits, so you're looking at
65.
76, so about 65,000 roughly.
$65,000?
1,000,
I have it in here to on board benefits.
yeah.
For healthcare, yes, just for healthcare. Overall with the benefits, I mean, it's only because other things have gone up, your retirement and stuff,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, for just health.
And do we know exactly how many individuals that impacts, Diana, by any chance?
Currently, the board, 2 members of the board have health insurance and 2 members take the buyout of health insurance.
And then you got the electives too with the judges.
With the judges, the
Well, we only have
current,
2 back there, but
currently,
Oh,
well,
right,
when we had
yeah.
the 3, they
They all took this-
all opted for the buyout.
they had the buyout, they had the $2,000 buyout, okay.
Anything else, Madam Controller? Okay.
Well, I
mean,
think, where are we leaving this?
I said publicly last year how I felt about this, and I'll continue. I think that we've made lots of cuts. We ask our staff to make cuts. I think that we as electeds should also do that. So, I'll
Well,
just throw
we
that.
can make cuts. We can make pay more bigger percentage. That's why we need a resolution to do this. I don't believe that just eliminate it, and then what do we do next year? We're gonna opt back in? What about the year after?
John, I
if
think,
we do it-
this is a difficult budget, and
Yeah, I know. But if they pay more, it's not gonna, you know what I mean? If we put a bigger percentage on there. Diana says 95-5, we could do 50-50 or whatever, but I think we have to look into it, and this is the discussion we should make, and it shouldn't be during budget time. That's how I feel about it. It's an important issue. It's been offered for, I don't know, 30-plus years. I don't even know how long it's been offered to
Yeah,
electeds.
I understand that, John, and,
Yeah.
I don't want to look at anything just because it's always been done that way.
Yeah.
But we're asking other departments to make big cuts, and I
We
think.
can make a cut. We can make a cut. We could do it differently, though.
Okay,
It's a way
so
to make a cut.
let's then.
That's what I mean. We have to
Yep.
talk about it, though. This isn't if we're gonna do a resolution, we can't do it this minute.
Why does it need to be resolution?
Because I think, what are we gonna do next year? Is this a 1-year thing, 2-year thing? What is it?
Well, we decide that next year, when we go through
You're
the
not gonna
budgeting.
do it, that's what I mean. You're not gonna do it every year. So an elective's in, he's out, he's in, he's out, he's in, he's out. No, we're gonna make it straightforward. We have elected, we have a resolution, this is what electives are offered. If they're not offered it, then we all agree that we don't have any health care for any electives at all, or a buyout. That's gotta be included in it as well. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it's not gonna be, we need a done resolution, so we know what we're gonna do next year, the year after, and the year after. We're gonna eliminate it all, then we eliminate it all, but it's gotta be done by resolution.
We need to have that conversation
We're not gonna come back to
prior.
the table every year and say, okay, during a budget, electives, we could put them back into healthcare, okay, next year, okay, or not. So, no, that's not the way to do it.
Any other questions? Okay, so this concludes workshop 1 for our budget. For those at home, the budget workshop 2, October 23rd at 4:30. Special town board meeting, October 27th at 4 p.m. The public hearing is November 6th at 7:35 p.m. Workshop meeting November 10th at 4 p.m. The special town board meeting, November 13th at 4 p.m. The regular town board meeting, November 18th at 7 p.m. This concludes our workshop meeting for October 7th. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
If I could make one more comment, please, Mr. Supervisor, I want to be clear on the conversation about the healthcare. So we're putting this, as of tonight, we're putting this on hold. This proposal's on hold as of, so it's in the minutes of where we are as far as tonight.
So then we have to find $65,000 somewhere else.
Well,
And I just want to remind the board, the special meeting on Monday at 4 o'clock is to adopt the preliminary budget. So any revisions that you wish to be made need to be to me no later than Saturday midday so that I have time to incorporate the changes.
Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
May I have a second?
Second,
The meeting, all in favor say aye.
aye.
right?
The meeting is adjourned.